starting up the candidates, let me just explain how this procedure is going to work, if I could have your attention. The candidates' names were drawn previous to today in a random order, so they'll be coming out in an order that was drawn just to show no preference to anyone. Each candidate will have 5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes, counting applause time, and then if they're still talking, their mics will be cut off. Wes Riddle. Wes, come on up on the stage.
Hi, I'm Wes Riddle, and I'm running for U.S. Congress in the new Congressional District 25. The new district goes from the hills in the hill country to the south all the way to the agriculture and energy-rich fields of the north, from the Phantom Warriors at Fort Hood in the east to cowboy country in the west, and it is conservative. And it is so conservative that the newly redistricted incumbent Liberal Democrat Lord Lloyd Doggett will not be running. And it means it's up to you to vote, and whomever you elect in the Republican primary March the 6th, 2012 will be the new congressman, and so I ask you for your vote. Do your due diligence. Go to wesriddle.com and wesriddle.net. It'll take about as long as, say, a haircut. Speaking of which, did you hear the one about the florist who went into the barber, got his hair cut, and said to the barber, "How much do I owe you?" He said, "Well, nothing, because I'm doing community service this week." So he left, and the next day the barber goes to the barber shop and finds a dozen roses and a thank you card there. Later on, a policeman gets his hair cut, says, "Well, how much do I owe you?" Barber says, "Nothing, I'm doing community service this week." Next day the barber goes and finds a dozen donuts and a thank you card by the door. Later on that day, a congressman goes in and gets a haircut, says, "How much do I owe you?" The barber says, "Nothing, it's community service this week." So the congressman leaves. The next morning, the barber goes to open up and finds a dozen congressmen lined up for a free haircut. And that, folks, is the difference between the good citizens of this country and the political class that tries to run it. And I'll tell you,
Dave Garrison. Dave Garrison, come on up.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank Rosemary Edwards and the Travis County Republican Party, the North Shore Republican Club, and the county chairs and other state people who have put this on. But more so, I want to thank you because the Republican Party is the party of Texas because of your efforts. Thank you. I'm a business person, a Christian. I have 4 children. I have 15 grandchildren. A bunch are back here that you're hearing. And we've had 12 foster kids. I've been married for 41 years. It'd be 42, but I was sick a year. And outside of that, when I grew up in a house that had no running water, no toilet inside of it, and we were poor. Maybe poorer than anybody in this room. But you know, I don't say that for you to be sorry for me. I tell you this because this country said to me, "We want to give you a hand up, not a handout." And because of that, the free enterprise enabled me to progress to one of the highest levels in a corporate government. And for that, I am extremely thankful. The free enterprise system does not create poverty, it creates prosperity. And we often forget that when we think about this nation. I mean, we are a debtor nation, folks. By that, it means that our debtors can tell us what to do. I don't want the nation of China to set our policies in America, and I know you don't either, all right? I'm also concerned about things like the way our businesses are working with Washington. That is the cause of the financial crisis. To give you an example, when I was at USAA, I was on a phone call with Fannie Mae. And Fannie Mae said to USAA, and if you don't know, USAA is one of the largest financial service companies in America, San Antonio's largest employer. And because I was on the exec council, I was privy to this. And they said basically, if you don't make those subprime mortgages, meaning mortgages for people who could not afford them, they would not underwrite our mortgages and threaten to accuse us of being racist. And the CEO turns to me and he says, Dave, what do you think we ought to do? Because he knew I would speak my mind. I said, let's tell Fannie Mae to stick it in their ear.